So we're the third best team in the Eastern Conference, which is still a miracle given how early we are into this series. We're only in our second season. But we've gotten kind of boring. Our offense has dipped. We are no longer the league leader in three-pointers made. And defensively, we're just in the middle of the pack. So we're showing some signs that aren't really encouraging to me. Also, Porzingis is not averaging the amount of points that I would like him to average. I'm doing all I can, man. Okay, the shot's at 100. Everything is about as high as I would like to put it until we get to a point where Porzingis is taking shots that I don't want him to take, which is like step-back three-pointers, which I don't want him to do that type of stuff. I'm doing all I can, all right? I'm looking for 2K to cooperate with me with the zinger shooting the ball a million times a game. So hopefully he'll do that. It's time to talk about the small forward position. Terrence Ferguson, his plus-minus is pretty okay for a dude coming off the bench. He's making his three-pointers, and if you see the dude above him in Michael Beasley, well, Beasley is not hitting his threes at the rate that Ferguson is, and defensively, Terrence Ferguson is pretty okay. He's got some work to do, but he's considerably better than Michael Beasley, so it's time to make the switch. Terrence Ferguson is now going to be our starting small forward, and I'm just hoping that this can instill some life into the team, because we seem to be kinda not really getting better, you know? We started off the season really hot, and as you expect, we cooled off a little bit, which is fine, but now it seems that we're cooling off a little bit too much to the point where a negative trend could be developing for us. So hopefully Ferguson can come in and just be a better two-way player than Beasley was. And when you add that to Ntilikina as well as Norman Powell, defensively, we have something going on now with the point guard through small forward. And these are just some of the games Ferguson's had for us where he hasn't been starting. Notice the 18 rebounds and 4 blocks that DeAndre Ayton got that I'm not going to talk about at all. But Ferguson in this game against the Wizards is pretty good. He had, 11 points, was it? I don't know. I was so fixated on DeAndre Ayton's rebounds that I totally forgot what was going on with Ferguson. But I assume he had a good game. I put this in the video, so at one point I must have looked at the stats. Against Milwaukee, 12 points, 1 for 3 from 3. You'll notice that when it comes to rebounding and assists, Ferguson doesn't really go nuts. I think he could grab more rebounds because he's 6'6" or something, 6'7", and he can jump pretty well. So he should be able to do that. Whether I actually matched him up on Giannis or not, I don't know. And I have no idea if he's even able to actually defend Giannis, given the height disadvantage there. But whatever, he's pretty good. And what's exciting about Ferguson for me is, besides just the three-point shot and all that, is because he's athletic, he can be pretty good in transition, and he doesn't just have to be making all of his buckets from three-pointers. I mean, a lot of these he'll have what's this other game here against the Bucks? Like, he had 8 points. Okay, he had 2 three-pointers, so I'm actually full of crap on this one. Also, I noticed the game that Hardaway had, so allow me to once again no-sell Terrence Ferguson's performance for someone else's performance. But he's pretty good. I'm trying to paint a picture of him being better than Beasley or something. I forgot what the beginning of this video was. I think the ultimate goal with Ferguson is a guy who can average maybe 12, 13 a game, maybe higher than that, I don't know. He'll probably never be too much of a ball handler, but three-point shooting, transition, cutting to the rim, attacking on a closeout at the bare minimum in terms of ball handling. Like I mentioned earlier, I do want the free throws, or not the free throws, the rebounding to at least be a thing. Although, speaking of free throws, he actually has been able to get to the line somewhat decent amount, and I think that's to do with the fact that he gets up there and he can throw down on guys and finish at the rim pretty okay. So we saw 3 good games from Ferguson when he was only playing about 18 minutes a game. Another thing's happening though. Lance Thomas as well as Michael Beasley are kind of our 2 of our backup wings, and at this point I'm not super hyped about either one of them. I started to look to free agency, and one guy who I think can be good for us is Dante Cunningham, who's a power forward who's an okay three-point shooter. He's good on open threes, and his three-point percentage is pretty good, but I'm not going to ask him to take 1,000,000 of them a game. And he doesn't take too many, but when he does shoot them and he's open, he seems to have decent success. And he's pretty okay defensively, Cunningham as well. He's basically a better version of Lance Thomas, because Thomas has been, not the best, and I figure Cunningham can just be in there for a decent chunk of time per game, takes some minutes away from Beasley and Thomas. But I've also got another idea, and that's Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, Smith, also pretty good defensively, but way more athletic than Dante Cunningham, also only 25 years old. So we could mold him into something pretty good off of our second unit. His three-point shot is going to need some work, but he's not helpless from there, and his ball handling isn't the worst thing in the world either. I think Finney-Smith, here's the thing, like, he's not as good as Cunningham is at this very moment, but I think he could end up being a better player, and because he's 25 years old, we could sign him now, and we could grow him into something that could be pretty good for us. I think he can be a power forward mainly, who can defend a few positions, and if that three-point shot or maybe the ball handling can just become enough of a thing, then he can be pretty okay on offense as well. And I think I could actually see him growing into something, but, you know, which one do we sign? Do we sign the right now guy in Cunningham or the future piece in Dorian Finney-Smith? And there's a decent amount of moves, man. Terrence Ferguson is now entering the starting lineup. Potential new free agent coming along as well. We got kind of boring, all right? We're only 5 games over 500. We got to make a little bit of a change.